What is up, guys? How we doing? How we doing? Bam! 4K media book of Eden Lake. It's pretty dope. It has the 4K version, which is in the DVD, and it actually has a little book in it. I can't read it because it's in German, and this is a German version of it, but I have talked about this movie several times and said that one day I'm gonna work up the courage to watch it again to review it for you guys. And since I saw that this was available in 4K, I'm pretty sure this is the only way to get it in 4K. I decided to get it, grow a pair, and watch it so I could review it for you guys. You guys know I am a horror movie fanatic. I love them, and I'm often asked, what are my favorite horror movies? And if I had to give you an answer, if I had to honestly think about what movie has horrified me the most, left me just absolutely just heart ripped out, like not exactly, I guess it depends on what you define as horror, right? But to me, what movie has left me feeling the most horrified? And that is Eden Lake. And so basically, let's dive in. This is going to be a spoiler review because to talk about what. So this is in the same vein of the category of movies like Martyrs, Funny Games, Speak No Evil. And for some reason, I don't see anybody talking about this movie. I just don't. All the big YouTube, this movie does not seem to come up, and this movie came out the same year as Martyrs. It's a UK, British horror movie, I believe, and basically, the synopsis is a couple goes on a retreat to Eden Lake, and they are terrorized by a group of teenagers. And on the surface, that sounds, no biggie. But this is a very brutal, bleak, disheartening, gut-wrenching movie that, I'm going to warn you before diving into the movie and even suggesting it to you that there's people on Reddit right now saying they had PTSD from this movie. I don't want to shape it out to be that, it's that gory or that it's not Terrifier levels of gore. It's not super, scary in the traditional sense. But it is a very grounded, intense story that ends horrifically. And probably one of the worst ways possible. And there's people on Reddit trying to come up with theories for the end to not accept the ending for what it is because of how bad the ending is. But we will get there. If you're here, I'm assuming you've seen it or you maybe want to. I don't know. Maybe you just enjoy watching me talk about films. But if you are going to go watch this movie, be warned. This is a brutal one, man. So I don't want to point anybody in the direction of this movie that might not be able, because I do think there's people out there that wouldn't be able to handle movies like Martyrs and this. I remember my ex-wife, I talked to her about this movie and said I only watched it once, and it's the one movie that I just could not bring myself to watch again. And she's like, well, I want to watch it. And I knew my wife, she was a pansy when it came to horror movies, dude. And we started it one day, and I just looked over at her and was like, I'm not gonna have you watch this, man. I'm sorry. I know how much, Blumhouse movies freak her out. I'm not gonna make her suffer through this. So I might talk a little bit on this one. I want to go through my positives, negatives, and the synopsis with you. So as I said, this couple, it's got Michael Fassbender in it, and the antagonist is fucking Remick from Sinners. The most hated character I have ever seen in cinema. The protagonist in this movie. I hate him so much. Is Remick in Sinners, the vampire, and is now Jimmy in 28 Years Later. And I have no doubt it's because of this movie and his performance in it. Because to hate a character that much, you gotta be giving a good performance. So as I said, it's about two people that go on a trip to Eden Lake. It's about to have construction done on it, and it used to be a park where you could just go to the lake. And the movie is a social commentary on parenting. I didn't pick that up the first time because I'm not going to lie, the first time I watched this was a long time ago. Back when I was drinking, so I watched this half drunk and I was sober by the end of it. It's a social commentary on parenting. On like abusing your kids, how that ends up shaping them, and then denying your kids horrible actions with no way my kid would do that after raising them to be these monsters like that are the spitting image of you, and acknowledging their shitty behavior means acknowledging yours. Like, it really has a lot to say. And the fact that the antagonists in this movie are kids, as a viewer, makes you so emotionally these kids are terrorizing you. You don't want to wish death upon kids. They're kids, but what do you do when kids are literally out to kill you? And it's such an interesting piece of work, man. And I think it's... positives on it are... I think the acting's incredible. You got Michael Fassbender in here, as I said, as known as Magneto. Kelly Riley, she does great. The guy that plays Remick in Sinners, the main antagonist, is phenomenal in here. Some of the other actors are meh, and some of the dialogue is meh. But for the acting, for the most part, is pretty good. It's pretty brutal. There are some brutal scenes. Again, this came out in 2008, I think, 2009, 2007, around there. So, I don't want to hype this up as it being super brutal. There are brutal scenes in it because it involves kids. And, adults, too. There's brutality, yes, but it's not on the level of, Terrifier. But there are brutal scenes. This is more grounded, though. I would say something like Terrifier is more... There's a difference between how the two feel in tone. But Speak No Evil. Let's talk about the category of movies that this is in. Speak No Evil, right? It's about Danish culture and being polite, and how that can get taken advantage of and ends horrifically. I don't want to spoil a bunch of movies for you, but ends horrifically. And as an American watching it, I think you just get pissed off at the main characters throughout the entire movie, but that's the point, because that's the culture there, is to be really polite. Here, we're self-absorbed, and we would never... There's a time to be an asshole. And Funny Games, to be honest with you, I don't really like. I think it's pretentious. I think it's smarter than it thinks it is. It's just a home invasion movie where the ending is horrible. And they even remade it, did a side-by-side remake. I know that it has its cult following, but gut-wrenching film, sure, but not on the same level. It's just a home invasion movie where the ending is bleak, and they even cheat a little bit to get there. And anyway, Martyrs, I recently reviewed. Even lost subs on that movie review because I said again, I think it's another movie that's trying to be smarter than it is. To pull off these horribly upsetting endings, and the reason why we're branching off into this topic is you're either, going to love it or hate it. And to me, whenever I see a super upsetting ending, the thing to me is, well, is the story justified in its upsetting ending and what it's trying to get across? Martyrs, I thought, was a great movie. The first 2 acts were phenomenal. I hated the why of the movie. When we found out why this was happening, it was like, that's stupid as fuck. And, I don't, yeah, it has a cruel ending, but I don't think, so, how do I word this? All of those movies I feel like you would watch and the ending would piss you off. But with Eden Lake, you get pissed off at the ending, but I think it is executed in a way where it actually makes it a good movie. Where what it's trying to say, the why, the way it ends, I think it's, out of the movies that we're discussing, is the best one at executing an ending like that. Funny Game, I literally couldn't rewatch this movie. This is only the second time I've watched it. Funny Games I could rewatch. Martyrs I could rewatch. Speak No Evil I could rewatch, because, to me, you're just mad at the characters, the main characters in Speak No Evil the whole time. In Funny Games, you're just like, yeah, okay, I get it, man. You're in control. We know how this is going to end. That the shock value of the ending isn't as impactful when a quarter way through the movie how it's going to end. However, I will say I do enjoy Funny Games as commentary, which is, we want horror, we want carnage, but we often want that to be resolved and ride off into the sunset and have a happy ending. In Funny Games, you do not get that. We, the viewer, are selfish for wanting that. We want to see carnage. Well, we're going to give you carnage. That's what Funny Games is. And Martyrs, again, when we got to the why, it was like, does that justify everything that we just witnessed? I don't really think so. But this, a social commentary on parenting, because there's a part that I didn't pick up on the first time I watched it, where they're driving to Eden Lake, where they're listening to the radio, and it's talking about parents not disciplining their kids, or not parents disciplining their kids too much, and not sending them to school when they, disciplining them with violence, but then looking the other way when their kid commits violence. It really is just trying to talk about parenting and how your culture of violence will spawn, a mirror version of you, and how the parents will ignore that their kid is that way with they're just a kid and their horrible actions, and refuse to look at what they've created through their horrible parenting. That's what the message of this movie is. So now that we're 15 minutes in, let's start talking about the movie. Because I really want you to either be in this with me or not, because this is going to get dark. We're going to talk about some triggering things, and I just want you to know that going forward, okay? Also, I've seen a lot of people say that if you like movies like this, you're a piece of shit. And if you're one of those people, dude, that's so holier than thou. It's not like people like this because of the cruelness of it. It's not like I like, bleak endings or seeing kids get killed or the shit that's in this movie. It's that I like what the commentary is. I like the horror movie and how intense and executed it was, and the guttural reaction that it got out of me to blanket statement, if you like these movies, you're a piece of shit. Go watch My Little Pony, because that's about as high as your horse gets. So, we follow two characters that go to Eden Lake. They start getting terrorized by a group of kids, teenagers. And it's little shit at first. Michael Fassbender, kind of blows it off. Like, these group of kids show up at the beach. They're blasting music. They have a dog that's really aggressive, that's not on a leash. And, they're really trying to be polite and not step on the kids' toes. They're just kids. They're just being teenagers, doing what teenagers do, being rebellious, whatever. But then, the dog comes up and, almost bites his girlfriend again, soon-to-be fiance, because he's going to propose to her. And, when you're watching this, you think it's... Well, I'll just explain it. After the second time the dog goes up and freaks her the fuck out, he finally goes over to the teenage group and was like, hey, can you turn the music down? And can you watch your fucking dog and make sure that, it's freaking my girlfriend out, whatever, And then they're basically like, fuck you. I'm going to do what I want, and make fun of him. And so he just goes back. They go to ignore it. They spend the night at the beach. And the next day, they have a flattened tire that the kids, obviously did. They go to a diner and go into town and ask the waitress, have you seen these kids riding bikes? And the waitress turns out to be the mother of these kids. And she's like, oh, what? Are they giving you trouble? In a sarcastic way. And there's like, well, one of them slashed my tires. And then she's like, not my kid. Not my kid. Which is the ignoring shitty behavior and blaming people, retaliating to it with they're just kids when they're... It's so complex because they are just kids, but you raising them to be that way and then ignoring them doing horrible things because you're horrible is horrible. So, this is where I'll get a little bit nitpicky. I'm out. Alright, after this happens, my tires got slashed and whatever, the waitress is being, not my kid. I'm out. I'm leaving. Because Eden Lake isn't even that pretty. Table Rock Lake, in my opinion, is prettier, and he's just going on and on about how this spot, is so beautiful, and it's like, yeah, that's a lake, that it looks like a lake. It's not like the, I don't know. I think there's legitimately some better spots in Golden than this. I would just go somewhere else. But instead, they go back to the lake. And so I will, dock it. There are a couple, moments where, yes, characters make shitty decisions so the movie can happen. They go back to the lake. And this time when they're at the lake, while they're asleep, the kids steal their fucking car. They steal their car and their bag that has their wallet, their phone, and everything, all their personal belongings. And so now, they track the kids down, and Michael Fassbender's character demands, give me my fucking keys. I don't care what you're doing here, but give me my keys, give me my shit back. And, is obviously holding back on how aggressive he's being because they're kids. I mean, he's like, dude, I don't want any trouble, just give me my shit. You've had your fun. Give me my shit back. And one of them takes out a blade because after they're pretending, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And then his phone goes off and everything. It's the same ringtone. He finally starts to be forceful with give me my fucking keys and my phone and my stuff. And then one of the kids pulls out a knife and tries to go and stab him, and they're holding the knife and Michael Fassbender accidentally gets it into the dog. And then, of course, the teenagers have no self-awareness whatsoever and blame Michael Fassbender for killing the dog, which starts the witch hunt for this couple, when really, no, your dumbass killed the dog. Hey, who got the blade out? Oh, okay, blade went in neck of dog because of who? Don't get the blade out, dog never gets cut. Who's it on? Whatever. That shit pisses me off, man. But, just like their parents, right? No self-awareness, deflection, and that's what, again, a big part of what this movie is trying to say, is like these kids are just spitting images of their parents, so like, as a viewer, you feel bad for them, because they're doing evil things, but they're kids, and they don't know any better, because it's what they've been taught. So it's not like you're rooting for their deaths, there are no winners here, you know, like, so they kill the dog, and they get they throw the keys to Michael Fassbender. They get in the car and they get out of there, and then the group decides to chase them, and they crash the fucking car. Of course. I mean, they got stuck and threw rocks at the windshield and shit, and so Michael Fassbender couldn't see, but you're in the woods on like a bike path. Maybe slow down a little bit, stick your head out the window. Like, there was no need to wreck the car. So stupid moment number 2. They wreck the car. Michael Fassbender gets pinned because a tree basically impaled him, and he demands that for his girlfriend to go, to get out of here. And you think this is going to be a story of them trying to survive together, but you quickly realize that's not the case, because he demands that she goes, and the kids come and take Michael Fassbender's character. They wrap him up in barbed wire, and they each take turn. Alright, so we're going to get graphic here. They each take turns stabbing him. And the leader of the teenagers is forcing these other kids to do it. And I'm specifically want to point this out because later there's a big moment where this is mirrored. So the leader is forcing these kids to do something they don't want to do. At this point, they have gone too far, and they don't want any part in this. And he's recording them each doing it because, like, they said something like, well, I didn't do anything, and he gets the recording out and is like, you're going to fucking stab him too, because we're all in this together, and you're not going to be able to say that it was all on me. And so they do. They all take turns stabbing him. We get a really, really brutal scene of a box cutter going in Michael Fassbender's mouth. It's brutal, man. And then, while he's being tortured, his girlfriend, maybe I should learn her name, huh? Jenny and Steve. Jenny, goddamn. Jenny, Bluetooths to his phone to try to call 911. And that lets them know she's in the area. And while they're chasing her down, Michael Fassbender gets away. And so they end up reuniting. She gets away. They're chasing her on the bikes. And she gets away. Michael Fassbender is able to slip out of the barbed wire. And they get to a place where she can address his wounds. And he's bleeding out. He's done. He's dead. He's dying. There's nothing you can do. And his acting here is actually pretty damn good. Pretty incredible. Very gory. Got some deep wounds, man. And the kids find them again, and they have to go down in the walk. Like, I guess I shouldn't explain every single detail of the movie, but he is in no shape to keep going, so she leaves them covered in leaves, and she says, you know, she's going to go to town and come back for help. And she runs into the first boy that we meet, Adam, who is the youngest of all of them. So I would say the age ranges of the kids look like it ranges from like 17 to 13. It gets pretty rough. So while she is out, she finds Adam. Adam leads her to a trap. She gets knocked out. When she wakes up, they are both tied to a stake, her and Michael Fassbender, because they found him and he is dead. Her husband, or was going to be husband, because she found the ring when she was addressing his wounds, is now dead. And, again, the group is arguing with the main guy, who is... Huh. It doesn't even name him. Well, hats off to you, Sam Remick. I'm going to call you Remick because, like, he does it. As much as I hate his character, his acting in here is phenomenal. I mean, he's just a kid. So, like, to see him star in stuff like Sinners and 28 years later, proud of him, you know? Because this definitely kickstarted his career. Where was I going with that? Yeah, okay, so the whole group of kids, they don't want to do this. Like, they're now trying to stand their ground and say, like, look, we never wanted things to go this far. This was you. You're forcing us to do this. And Remick is being, like, scary. Like, he's like, you're gonna fucking do this or I'm gonna kill you, you know? And they light the stake on fire, which ends up... that's the end of Michael Fassbender. He gets lit on fire, and the ropes for Jenny get burnt, and she's able to break free. And she has a stick. She has gets the wooden stake with fire, and is trying to hit Remick with it, and she spills over gasoline and creates a firewall, which allows her to escape. And then, this is probably the most fucked up scene. Well, no, it's not the most... Whoa. It's in competition for the most fucked up scene of the movie. To get her to come back, Adam, who is the youngest of the group, as I said, he threatens to kill him. And he puts a tire over his head, puts gasoline on it, and lights his fucking head on fire. We don't really see it. It's more off camera, but you hear the blood-curdling scream, and it does show the end of it in the uncut version, and it's fucking... It's brutal. So, Remick is full-on killing his own at this point, going full psycho. Like, these kids aren't, you know, wanting to get involved, and he's just forcing them to be. And, that scene's rough, man. And, so she throws up at the sight of that, and then just from then on, dude, it's her just enduring endless shit to try to survive. Endless shit, man. Like, she just... The rest of the movie is basically just her trying to escape from them as Remick continues to lose his mind and kill his own one by one. And she fucking steps on, like, I don't remember what it was that completely impaled her foot and has to pull that out. And at one point she has to hide from them, and to do so she has to get in this container of shit and hide in it. And so, like, she's covered in shit, and, like, afterwards breaks a mirror to get glass and a weapon. And then we have another really sad scene of the brother. So Remick's little brother was probably the most innocent out of all of them. And she's looking in the mirror. She's endured so much, and he sneaks up on her, but he actually wants to help her. and she turns around and stabs him in the neck. And then realizes, like, oh, fuck, it was the wrong kid, and starts crying as, like, you know, this little kid is dying in her arms. And continues to, like, then we later get to Remick discovering the body of his little brother being dead, and, like, one of the guys is like, look at this. This is on you. Like, look at this. You just had to take things this far. And Remick loses his mind and bashes in his head. And so now there's, like, one person left in this group, and it's a girl, and she runs away from him. So, like, basically, the girl is Jenny, our main character, our protagonist, is just trying to get the hell away from these guys, and Remick is losing his mind. I know that's not his name. I'm sorry. That's just what I'm going to call him, because, like, he gave such an iconic performance in Sinners, and, like, anyway, he's losing his fucking mind. He's killing all of his friends. And anybody that even tries to say, hey, you're in the wrong. And eventually, she finds a car. And the street, and somebody picks her up. And we're in a neighborhood where everybody knows each other. And he allows her to get in the car, but he then goes to call for his little brother. And we see that he knows the group, and she basically steals the car, and a character dumb decision moment number 3, she gets the car, she's free, right? She's driving, she's getting away, a car pulls out in front of her, she fucking crashes. And then she goes to this party in a backyard and said, somebody please help me. And she's covered in shit, mud, blood. And for a moment, man, for a moment, she wakes up, she's in a trailer, a girl is treating her wounds. But this is where you need to pay close attention to detail of the parents and their demeanor and how they're talking. One parent is practically making fun of her, and it's in this house, as I said, everybody knows everybody, that she gets a call. The girl that's making fun of her is on the phone making fun of her, basically saying she looks like death, and finds out that one of her kids got killed. And we look over and we see another dog, just like the dog that previously got killed. And there's 2 food bowls. And then she says, I need to go to the ER. Somebody take me to an ambulance. And she's taken to a bathroom where there's a couple having sex. And yes, this is, I think, an intentional moment to make you think about it later on. So while she's in the bathroom, she finds I want to say butterfly knife. No, it was a shaving. It was a razor blade. And they figure out who she is, and that she's the one that killed their kid. And they're banging on the door, and then they open it, and sure enough, it's Remick and his dad and the group, and they're all calling her a monster, that they are just kids. And after all of it, after all the shit, after losing her husband, after all the torture, after fucking everything, all of the effort, she fought so goddamn hard. We see the dad of Remick turns around and grabs her by the throat. And just like the son, how he was forcing the kids that didn't really want to do this to do it, he is going to kill her. And the other guys are trying to talk him out of it, just like previously. Like, hey, like, cops are probably going to be here. I don't know if we should do this. And I read the script because I couldn't quite understand what they said. But he says, so what are... We look after our own around here. And so then a guy asks, so what do you want to do about it? And he tells Remick to go upstairs. And even the character that we have watched be so evil this entire movie steps in and says, no, don't do this. And his dad slaps the shit out of him and says, you know, tell me what to do again and I'll do it again. And like, a dude grabs a sword, a dude grabs a razor blade, and 3 guys take Jenny into the bathroom. And you hear her blood-curdling screams as we follow Remick going up to the bedroom. He looks in the mirror. He has on the sunglasses of the husband, and he keeps taking them off, looking at her. Meanwhile, we're hearing Jenny scream bloody murder, saying, no, please don't. Just screaming and screaming. And then he looks at the camera, and it goes to black. And it's rough. It's a very, 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 very rough ending. Because not only in this moment do you realize, like, you know, like you just saw Remick get fucking backhanded by his dad, and like you're seeing Remick like look into the mirror and like question what is he becoming, and like that, like I think the scene is to show like he's a product of what he was made to be. And when he has the sunglasses on, you know, like, but he literally looks at the camera before it goes to black. And as Jenny is down there screaming. And what is the worst thing that your brain thinks of when you think of 3 men with a sword, a razor, and a knife taking a woman into a bathroom that was just used for sex? And I looked it up because I wanted to know if it was intentionally implied that she was raped, and it was intentionally implied that she was raped. That's it. That's how the movie ends. And it's rough. So she basically goes out in the worst fucking way possible. I've seen conspiracy theories on Reddit of like, no, she actually lived, see, like trying to cope, because that's just such a horrible ending. Like, but the reason why, after the dust settles and after you think about it and you watch the movie and you're fucking livid, because I watched this the first time, like I said, half drunk. I didn't know what it was. We were on cable. I was with a couple friends, and we were just goofing off, you know, and put this movie on. And by the end of it, we both just looked at each other and was like, oh my fucking God. Like, what did we just watch? Like, we just, like, basically our evening was soured. But the reason why after the dust settles I consider this to be a good movie is because of what it's trying to say. Of at the end, you see Remick get smacked. You see that he is just a product, that this horrible person that you've been following this whole movie, tormenting, killing his friends, doing this shit, is a product of what he was made to be. And that even he said no to his dad when he goes to kill Jenny. And the dad just smacks him. and the mom is excusing their kids' behavior with they're just kids, just like you've seen earlier. And before any shit goes down, you see parents hitting their kids. So it absolutely is a commentary on like parenting and abuse and neglect and raising your kids to be spitting images of that and a result of that, and then excusing their violence and shit with they're just kids, and you not wanting to look at the fact that you created the very thing that you are. And so when the dust settles and you're, not angry at the film anymore for what it's trying to say, for as intense of a movie as it actually is, for how brutal of a movie it actually is, I actually really like this movie. I would probably say it is my favorite horror movie. Like, if I had to honestly pick, what is the movie that just shook you to your core that I couldn't even bring myself to watch again until to do this review for you guys, because I just happened to get the 4K version and I'm never going to watch it again probably. Why did you order the 4K version? Because look at this. I have a book. You know how cool that is? A book. Got actual pictures. It's a full-on book. Like, hell yeah. Like, this is awesome. It's really brutal. I wouldn't recommend, I think it's good for what it's trying to say. There's so many people that hate it. Like, you either love it or you hate it. Endings that go for a gut punch, I look at the why and the how, and was the gut punch warranted? And I think it was here, Because I saw a lot of people in a Reddit thread go, why didn't they just let her escape? She just went through so much already. And that's the point. To not let her escape. To show that this is how, this cycle of evil, this movie wouldn't be talked about if she escaped, And it's not really talked about anyway. But, you look at the why of Martyrs. Now, that doesn't satisfy me as to why you get such a cruel ending. That's fucking stupid, actually. Funny Games. No, that doesn't satisfy me. Funny Games is not, I think it's a good horror movie, but I don't think it's anything, mind-blowing like people make it out to be. And Speak No Evil is probably my favorite, besides Eden Lake, out of all of them. But again, watching it from an American perspective where people aren't as worried about being as polite, you just get really fucking frustrated with the main characters. This movie, I think, knocks it out of the park with... And Funny Games, the reason why the ending didn't really affect me as much is because you know how it's going to end. I think if they're sitting here breaking the fourth wall, that you can kind of know where the movie's going to end. So, the shock value of having a guttural punch doesn't work when you know it's coming. And Martyrs, you do. Funny Games, you do. Speak No Evil, you don't, but you're so angry at the characters that, by the time we get there, it's goddamn. This, you don't really expect it, and then you get it, and it's you question, was it necessary for it to end this way? And I do not think this movie is as good as if she gets away. Because that whole point of that scene of showing the father doing the wrong thing, even Remick breaking down and saying, no, Dad, and getting smacked, and then seeing a vulnerable Remick look into the mirror, delete the videos, and, the shades, I hide who I actually am. This is who I actually am. I am a product, a monster And that is a result of my monstrous parents. And that point isn't driven home as much if you don't get that guttural punch of an ending. So, well, yeah, when the dust settles and you're not mad anymore and you actually think about it as a movie, I think it's really good. And I think there's going to be people out there that think that I'm a weirdo for thinking that this is, because yes, man, it is a really rough ending and people either love or hate that. Americans don't like rough endings. That some people do, some people don't, some people overpraise it, some people don't. I think Martyrs is a little overpraised, but I do love the first. I like Martyrs. I just don't like the why. I think the why sucks. And like fun, like, but this one, man, like, I just couldn't bring myself to watch again, but I did it today for your guys' entertainment. So, and now I own it. So that's good. Yeah, this is a brutal one. I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5. Like, I really do. Like, it's 2008. So, like, tame your expectations on the gore and brutality. It is brutal, especially whenever shit's happening to kids. There's taboo shit in here that you don't normally see. Violence towards kids. Kids being the antagonist. So, what do? You know, like, knowing that they're underdeveloped and they're just a result of their parenting. Like, but it's life or death. Like, it's a really good. I do. I think it's really good. I think there's some people that are going to think that I'm crazy for scoring it that high, but when you look at the intense scenes, like watching it on second rewatch, you enjoy it as much. Knowing that ending was coming, yeah, obviously sucks, but just the scenes themselves, they're all very intense. It's a very intense movie. It's a very cruel movie. It's a very dark, horrifying, fucked up movie that actually has something to say that I think is a very important fucking message now more than ever, if you want me to be honest. So yeah, I give it a 4.5 out of 5. And if I had to pick a favorite horror movie in terms of what movie has horrified you the most and made you feel the absolute grossest, the absolute sickened, but you still actually liked the movie for what it was, Eden Lake is it. Because I've watched shit like Cannibal Holocaust, dude. There's nothing that you can show. Like, you want to know something? The Cannibal Holocaust is one of the worst fucking movies ever made. I don't care that the ending is grotesque and gory. It is a boring fucking movie. It is very boring, and then it's not for 20 minutes, and the characters are so insufferable you don't really give a fuck. The Cannibal Holocaust, the Cannibal Holocaust is the perfect example of shock value over substance. The why in this is, well, like, shitty parenting. Shitty parenting. Raising monsters is what you're doing. You're raising them to be a spitting image of you and excusing their shitty behavior because you don't want to look at your behavior. And that's an important fucking message that I think a lot of people need to hear. So, and not meaning to shit on your taste. If you like Martyrs or Funny Game, nothing wrong with that. But there is a special niche for movies like this, I would say. Like, a special category, right? Like, because you got dark comedies like The Monkey. or Final Destination 6. You got straight up gore fest like Saw or Terrifier or Hostel. You got slasher movies. And then you have movies like this with gut punch endings. And this is one I don't see talked about a lot, and this is my favorite one in that category. Eden Lake, Speak No Evil, Martyrs, Funny Games. If you watch this movie, proceed with caution. If you have watched this movie and you needed to just, I don't know, hear somebody rant about it, then have a therapy session because of how fucked up this movie is. Well, I hope I was able to provide some comfort and talk about this with you, because this movie really is. I'm not going to suggest that you go and watch it unless you have the stomach for it. I've already explained everything of it to you, so like that's why I made sure to mention that at the beginning. Like this, even though I am calling this a good movie, this is not a movie I would recommend to everybody. This is not something that I think you watch with a buddy or watch with a friend, that you show your girlfriend. This is a movie that people are going to have very guttural emotional reactions to. When I watched this the first time, I was pissed. I was pissed for like a day. But when you actually sit down and think about the movie, yeah, it's good. It's a fucking horror movie. Not all horror, like horror movies aren't supposed to end happy all the time, And I'll never understand why we demand that in movies. All the Saw franchise, they lose all the time. In the Final Destination movies, they always end horribly. But because it's done in a cheeky, more dark comedy way, it's more passable. When you do it in a grounded way, it's really rough to watch. It's really cruel. It's really... And I do think that this movie, yeah, it does it the best. So... I've been waiting a long time to review this. Welcome my 50-minute Eden Lake movie review. But if you've seen it, comment down below. What do you think? Do you absolutely hate it because of the ending? Do you like the message of it? Are you okay with it? Like, do you like movies like this? What is horror to you? Is it jump scares? Is it... Because to me, it's this. You can give me all the blood in the world, all the jump scares in the world. Nothing has ever left me feeling as horrified as this movie. I couldn't bring myself to watch it a second time. And that might make me sound like a pussy to some people because it's really not that brutal or gory. But, yeah, it's a rough one. Anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for watching, as always. And if you have any movie suggestions for me to review, comment down below, because I'm just going to pick a movie at random every week going forward and review it. Thank you. Love you guys. Sorry this one was so long.